Hello and welcome to another episode of the Contractor Grow Show. My name is Mark Lamberth. I'm your host. And today I'm speaking with Scott Bianchini of Done, You Handyman in Wakefield, Massachusetts. They're just north of Boston. Scott, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so we've chatted already some here before the show. Just great knowledge and wisdom here dropping from things you're saying. I'd love to start just by hearing what services you provide for your customers.
We have a no job too small kind of policy. Most of my clients my demographics are single moms, seniors, and honestly, techies. Massachusetts is a very tech-driven state. And, there's nothing wrong with not knowing which end of the hammer to hold. You know what I mean? So, that's when people like me come in handy. So those are my demographics. I always used to say my dad could sell ice cubes to an Eskimo, but he wasn't very mechanically inclined, and that's great. I wish I could play guitar like Clapton, but I can't. My skills are my hands. It's just so we do everything from storm door installation, which is probably one of our most request services, drywall repair, carpentry, siding repair, you name it, we do it. The only thing that I don't do is tile floors, because I don't do enough of them to be good in order to do something that is kind of a niche trade. So I stay away from that for the most part, but everything else is on the table.
Gotcha. And then what type of kind of geographic footprints do you guys have? How far do you guys go to do jobs?
Well, I go probably, I try and stay within like 65 or 70 miles, believe it or not. I just picked up 17 Cordova. It's kind of a Chipotle competition. And they have a couple of stores out in the western part of the state that I've got to go and service. But I'm willing to do that. It's a great client. It's a commercial client. So you want to keep them happy. So I try, and obviously the closer the better. But if I have clients that continue to use me, I'll travel to service them.
Gotcha. And do you have a team?
I don't. I'm in that niche right now. We were talking before the call here. I'm at that point now where I have to make a decision. Do I stay small, single guy here? I have a young entrepreneur who's helping me on the weekends and school vacations, and he's really shown an interest in working with his hands, and he's soaking it up like a sponge. So he works with me, but aside from that, I'm at the point now where I could hire probably 2 people right now, but that's an avenue that I have to look further into because I don't know a lot about it. My previous life, I was a manager for a local supermarket chain around here. And this is something that I did on the sides. And then it just kind of took over my world. And I started doing this full time. So I went from a really good salary to eating ramen noodles again until I got my business up and running. And now I'm at that point where I have to say, well, are you going to be a manager of people again? Or are you going to just, stay small? Because you're always giving up a part of our business if you bring somebody else on. I could train you how to do anything if you're willing to learn it, but I can't train you how to be nice and thoughtful in people's houses when you're dealing with, furniture and cleanliness and that sort of thing. So, and that's hard to come by nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely. So, no job's too small. I'm curious, is any job too big?
Yeah, being a sole proprietor here and going out and doing most of the work myself, well, all of the work myself. I'll do deck repairs, but I'm not going to be doing bathroom remodels. I am a licensed handyman, so it does allow me to do electrical and plumbing in the state of Massachusetts. So the way the law dictates it is I can work or replace anything existing. So
Hmm.
I'm not going to be going into walls, running conduit, that sort of thing. But if you have a ceiling fan that needs to be replaced, a GFCI outlet, switch, garbage disposal, toilet, I can repair it or replace it. But I'm not going to be building decks, that sort of thing. And quite honestly, that's not my niche. My niche is, what I just mentioned, the siding repair that's blowing up due to a windstorm. And there's a lot of work out there with that niche. I mean, I have referrals for the bigger work that I can certainly feed and take care of, as I'm getting the referrals from them for the smaller stuff. So it works out well for me.
Hmm. Fantastic. So we talked some before the episode here. I mean, you've got a pretty, great concept around just how important it is to answer phones. I mean, what has been, what are your thoughts about, the importance of answering phones and how that leads to, kind of repeat customers and, loyalty with your client base?
My, the way I've always kind of framed my business is I want to increase my profit 25% every year, as much as I can. Sometimes I make it, sometimes I don't, depending on how much I put back into the business. And I put a lot of money back into the business. But it's I'm drawing a blank here. What was the question again?
Well, just curious about, you talked about how critical it is to answer the phone
Oh,
every single time when
answering
someone
phones.
calls.
It's critical. I mean, I want my customers for a lifetime.
Uh-huh.
You know, I want them to call me and only me when they have an issue. I want them to trust me when I say something doesn't need to be repaired or fixed just yet. Save your money. But if I find something in the house and I notice if I smell something burning and I find something, I want them to trust me and know that, okay, we better take care of this right away. So, the whole following up is just as important as answering the phone. If you can't answer the phone, I call them. I'll run out to my truck if I can, if I have a couple of minutes within an hour. And I usually have that on my, answering machine. If I'm not able to take your call, and my clients get my entire, concentration when I'm there. I don't have my phone on. I'm not looking at my phone. I'm concentrating on the client. So, getting through, following up, returning emails, following up after the job is done, even if they're happy, follow up anyway, just to say, hey, I'm just checking in with them, making sure everything is cool, and you know, I get a lot of feedback, a lot of positive feedback saying, I can't believe you even called me back, and like I said, and you want them for a lifetime. They're paying your bills, so take care of them.
It's fantastic. What does the sales process look like when someone calls you out of the blue? So maybe they've gotten a referral or they found
Mhm.
you on a website. What does it all look like? I mean, is there the whole quoting process? I mean, do you take all your tools out, just get ready to start the job, assuming that it's going to happen? How do you go through that kind of sales process?
Usually somebody's either going to reach out via text message, phone, or email, right? So I want to see pretty much everything that I'm going to go out and bid on. And most of the time, they're local. So I can swing over. Like after this podcast today, I had a client reach out to me this morning. She asked me if I could do something. I want to come out. I want to check it out and see it. A lot of times pictures don't do it justice. If it's something really simple, yeah, okay, a picture might do it justice. But I want to go out, I want to see it, and then I will come home. I'll write up the estimate. I'll get them the estimate within 24 hours. Quick turnaround. A is still fresh in my head, and it shows, hey, I want the job. You're important to me. A lot of contractors and a lot of my colleagues take like a week or two to get an estimate out.
Hmm.
Um, by that time, they could have had three or four, other people come out and, give them quotes, and then you're already forgotten about. So quick turnaround. All right. So come back, write the estimate, send them the estimate, follow up, make sure they received it. It could be as simple as a text message. And then once they accept the job, if there's a lot of materials, I'll ask for a deposit just to cover the cost of the materials. Maybe some of the labor, depending, because keep in mind, some of my stuff is small. I'm not going to ask for a deposit for, $300 or $400 worth of work. By the same token, if I'm doing 3 or 4 storm doors, and I do have some commercial clients and that do require, at least a week's worth of work, I'm going to need a deposit to cover some of the costs of the materials. And then again, I go out, I have everything I need in my van. I have a fully stocked vehicle. It's a hardware store and, a storage place for my tools. So once I'm there, I don't need to leave. I have everything on there I could possibly need to do any general repair.
Amazing. Fantastic. And then can I ask you, Scott, I mean, you talked about growing profit 25% a year. I love that you focus on the profit piece, because a lot of folks, they talk about the kind of top line revenue, which to me is really just a vanity metric, right? I mean, this is ultimately about profit and how much you're able to take home, take out of the business. What are ways to grow profit 25% a year? I mean, are there ways to think about that? Are there certain job types to focus on? And not looking for exact specifics, but I mean, how do you continue to kind of keep that mindset and implement that and try to accomplish that every year, growing your profit 25%?
Well, I take a look at, first thing I did, I work 6 days a week right now because it's just so busy here. There's a ton of people. And, I'm in a market up here that has quite a few handymen around, but believe it or not a lot of them are insured. So, I mean, even when somebody hires me, the first thing I would ask if I was a prospective, a client or, interviewing basically for the job that you want me to do is, are you insured? And nobody ever asks me. So, I'm getting a little off a track, but one of the things that I did is I hired a bookkeeper. I'm not great with books. I'm not great with, I am so busy because I'm out there returning the emails, the phone calls, going out, looking at the work, writing the estimates, going out, performing the work, coming home, doing the invoicing. I really needed somebody to focus on reconciling the books. So, I sit down with him and I look at what my most profitable jobs are. And I have a whole list of, what makes me the most money with, the least amount of time. Storm doors, for example. Storm doors take about an hour to install. And you're looking at a profit margin of probably about $350 to $400. All right. So if you do 4 or 5 storm doors in a day, and, you're really increasing your profit margin. Because you got to look at the time that you're spent going to get the storm door, ordering the storm door. Do I have to go around to 2 or 3 places to try and find this size of storm door? And some customers are very particular about what they want for hardware. It could be a particular color, so I take a look at what I do, how much I've made doing those particular jobs, and I have a whole spreadsheet on, I can tell you right now, I did 83 storm doors in 2024.
Okay.
So if I can increase that, am I sick of installing storm doors? Absolutely. But they're my most profitable job. So of course I'm going to do them. So, I have a look, it's easy to say, okay, I can go out and do any job, but if I get a phone call to go out and replace light bulbs or batteries and smoke alarms, not a profitable job for me. Most, picking up more commercial clients. I have VCA Animal Hospital around here, and it's a chain, but they hire me a ton. It involves working a lot on weekends and stuff because I'm in surgery, repairing walls or what have you, or shelves are hanging off the wall, or the faucet's not working. So you have to be a little bit of flexible with your schedule, but that's, picking up more commercial work that will increase your profits. But a bookkeeper can really help you out with that as well.
Okay, great. Well, fantastic, Scott. We talked about some great stuff here about the importance of answering the phones, really kind of focusing on profits. We didn't really talk much about actually the way that you've grown the business. And I'd love to hear a quick thought on that. I mean, you had said you joined some organizations, and joining, I think BNI was one of the most important business decisions you made. Maybe you could tell us about that, your experience with BNI and networking groups.
The first thing I did was I went out and got my LLC, made sure I had all my insurances. And then I went to the Small Business Administration through a local college here, and it's a free service in Massachusetts. And they wrote me up a plan. It was one of the best things I've ever could have done, because it put me in contact with somebody that could help me grow my business and start my business. I didn't even know about BNI until she mentioned it to me. So I got some flyers made up. I went to real estate agents and a lot of businesses in the local towns here, passed them out, told them what I was doing, joined BNI. It took me about a month and a half to get into BNI, because they do vet you very well before they, give you a seat. But once you're into an organization like that, it can really, really grow your business. But you have to have that mindset where you're getting referred from people that know you and appreciate your work ethic. So you have to keep that work ethic up. You can't slide at all. If they're going to give you a referral, then you better follow up. You better do quality work. It better be a reasonable price, or, you're not going to be invited to keep your seat. And I've been with BNI now for 8 years. And before I was even initiated and sworn in and given my seat, I made about $8,000 worth of referrals, not even being a member yet. And that was pretty much people testing me out to see if I was, competent at what I did. How were my communication skills throughout the process? And that really helped me out. Joined the Chamber of Commerce. Didn't work out for me because I wasn't getting work out of it. I got a couple of jobs out of it, but no matter where you go, you should have business cards in your pocket, because no matter who you meet, it's a prospective client. Dinner parties, Easter, always have business cards.
Fantastic. That is awesome. Well, Scott, thank you for coming on the show and sharing your expertise here and your experience over the years. If folks are looking for a great handyman service in North Boston area, what is the best way to get in touch with you guys?
doneforyouhandyman@gmail.com. You can go to doneforyouhandyman.com. And, that's the best way to find me.
Great. And so that's doneforyouhandyman.com, and then it's done, and then it's done.
D4Uhandyman@gmail.com, and the same for the website.
Great. The number 4, doneforyouhandyman.com. Fantastic, Scott. Well, thanks for coming on the show and sharing your expertise. And we'd love to chat with you a little bit later on in the year and see how things are going.
Excellent. I'd love to.